Every match at this level feels like life and death to you. What do you mean by that?
I think I told myself that I wasn't tired enough, and and I told this to my team that I wasn't finishing the points tired.
I'm not a type of player. No disrespect to other players in the ranking. I'm not happy to be one of the best in what I do. And you know what? I might not achieve.
Of course, my goal is to get even higher in the ranking, to get this position as number one. But I know it's still a lot of work. It's all depends on the other players too. And yeah, definitely that's my biggest goal, next goal. So I actually didn't think about this statistic because I lost in Australia. So I think it was.
Rebecca can reach the Italian Open final by defeating a Roland Garros semi-finalist, a US Open champion, and a top 10 veteran. However, her team reveals that none of those high-profile matches made them most nervous. Instead, a 20-year-old from the Philippines who had never won a 1,000 match before this week nearly derailed everything. What Eala revealed in her post-match interview explains exactly why this unexpected opponent posed such a threat.
It is the 20-year-old sensation from the Philippines, Alex Eala, who's joining us after her 6-4 in the third set victory over Magdalena Frech out on Petrangeli. First of all, congratulations on the win. I watched that entire match. It was really kind of a symphony in three movements, right? You bageled her in the first set. She came back, won the second set 6-4, went up a break in the third, and then you turned it around and won in three. What happened in sort of the last 20-25 minutes of that match that allowed you to take control?
I think I told myself that I wasn't tired enough, and and I told this to my team that I wasn't finishing the points tired enough. So maybe the intensity went down a little bit, and I tried my best to give that little extra push every single point, and it paid off.
That extra push is something that you talked to us a little bit about in Miami. You told us on the desk in Miami that you often tell your team that every match at this level feels like life and death to you. What do you mean by that?
Well, everybody is really good at this level, and anything can happen. And I think that's a beautiful thing about tennis. But at the same time, it's a profession that really keeps you on your toes and is really high pressure because every single match is a different circumstance, it's a different situation. And yeah, sometimes one match can change a lot for you.
Most players focus on managing their energy levels throughout a match. Eala takes a completely different approach by managing her exhaustion instead. She actually uses how tired she feels as a direct performance gauge during play. When fatigue wasn't present, she recognized that her intensity had dropped significantly. This level of self-awareness during competition at just 20 years old is extraordinary, and precisely what makes her such a dangerous opponent. What's even more surprising is that clay was supposed to be her biggest weakness.
Especially when you're changing seasons, or for me in clay is not my strongest surface, so every match is really a battle.
Yeah, let's talk about that. You grew up essentially at the Nadal Academy, where I believe they have a couple of clay courts,
yes.
And yet, as you point out, you've played very little as a professional on clay compared to how much you've played on hard. Are you starting to fall in love with the clay? Is it a work in progress? How are you digging it now?
Of course, I'm starting to build that relationship, especially at this level, because I've competed in clay definitely many times growing up, but playing as a professional obviously is a different game. I think this is my first season where I've really done kind of these high-level tournaments. So I did the 500 in Linz, 500 in Stuttgart, and then straight into the thousands, and then Roland Garros, of course. So I'm finding my footing, and I know that I can do well. I'm a much better player physically, mentally than I was last year. And we've really been working hard, my team and I. So I'm really happy with how I played this match, and hopefully, the things we've been working on will reflect.
This marks Eala's first genuine high-level clay season as a professional player in her entire career. Despite growing up at the Rafa Nadal Academy, where she trained extensively on clay as a junior and currently receives regular coaching from Tony Nadal himself, she had barely competed on professional clay courts before this tournament week. This compelling storyline has been completely overlooked by most tennis coverage and analysis.
She can, keep working on it, then she's gonna get a lot of 3 points out of it. Honestly, I feel like today was the worst conditions for my game. Very wet and heavy, which I really hate. Indian ones always plays fast and hot, and it's great because I can rush opponents. But today I felt like, I had to dig deep and just make balls and run and, not play my favorite, game, but, my plan B, let's say.
You've had some obviously great results on the clay, semifinals, Roland Garros. What are the things that when you're playing well on clay, you're doing well, not just tennis-wise, but mentally, your view on the game?
I feel like one thing that I worked a lot after Madrid and something that I didn't do really well the last few years on the clay was just to bring my margin a little bit more inside the court. I feel like I was trying to, go for too big of shots, in times where I shouldn't. It's what Iga said when she started with her new coach, that she wants to be that wall and that, very solid player. I feel like that's what I've been missing the last few years on the clay. Obviously my version, but it's very similar to what she said. And that's what, I really have to buy into, and, I want to see myself playing that way.
Her coach has to remind her of what she's already achieved, because she genuinely forgets. She's been top 10 for 4 consecutive years, has a Roland Garros semifinal to her name, and still says, I might not achieve it. That's not false modesty. That's a competitor who's hardwired to never feel like enough. Meanwhile, on the other side of the draw, Rybakina was quietly doing something nobody noticed.
Lots of time, and you, as you said, have so much experience, so many great wins to be able to fall back on. You seem like you're in a great space right now. Where would you say your hunger is, your motivation, your passion?
I want to get back to where I was. I'm not a type of player, no disrespect to other players in the ranking. I'm not happy where I am right now. And that's my character. Like, even when I'm done with tennis, I don't like to do things, halfway. I like to be one of the best in what I do. And you know what? I might not achieve it, who knows, but I'm gonna try my best to, see myself again there. And, one thing that I have to keep reminding to myself is that what I have achieved in my life is pretty good enough. And that's what Tom has been telling me, just to keep it in the back of my mind, because sometimes I do forget what I've done.
Well, one of the many things we love about you is you've always been an all-in type of person. So we love that. Rome, the city, I know the Rome vibes are inspiring for you. You love the city.
I do. I like the food. I like when the weather is good. I like the conditions because it does play a little bit quicker. What's to hate about Rome,
Sakkari openly acknowledges that she deliberately modeled her clay court mindset after Iga's coaching philosophy from Viatek, particularly embracing Iga's be the wall strategic instruction. This represents an unusual cross-player philosophical borrowing that she discussed candidly on camera. She managed to secure victory in her most challenging playing conditions by implementing another player's proven blueprint. Now the question becomes how she'll perform against Rybakina, who currently sits at the opposite end of the form spectrum.
Hi, congrats. I heard that you have your own private stringer. Is that right?
Yes.
So what is the benefit of having that private stringer?
Well, he doesn't work only with me, but also some other few players. But it definitely better when one person is stringing your racket. He also suggests some things which I can adapt depending on the condition, and also tracking how the rackets are actually, if I need to change something or not. So I think it's a great benefit to have someone in the team like this.
Elena, you've had more success in the last, I think, 6 months against the top 10 than you ever had before in your career. I wonder if you could explain that, if there's a reason for it, do you think? Is it your focus against the top players, or is it just the fact that you're playing maybe better than you ever have?
Over the past 6 months, Rybakina has defeated more top 10 players than during any comparable period in her professional career. She acknowledged something that players almost never admit publicly about tournament scheduling logistics. Playing a late semi-final the night before an early final creates a genuine competitive disadvantage that affects performance. She stated this plainly without making excuses, simply recognizing the logistical reality. This type of honest assessment is extremely rare and reveals everything about why her team has complete confidence in her process. 3 different players, 3 revealing interviews, and one tournament that perfectly illustrated where women's tennis is currently headed. Eala isn't participating to become an inspiring story. She's competing to claim titles. Sakkari is implementing borrowed philosophy while running on pure hunger. And Rybakina is methodically dismantling the #1 ranking piece by piece. For those who want genuine understanding of tour developments rather than surface-level coverage, these insights reveal the stories that highlights never capture.
Elena, congrats. Arena's held the #1 ranking now for long over a year, almost 80 weeks consecutively. I wonder what your thoughts are on that, how she's been able to dominate it. And now that you're at #2 in the world after the sweep, do you think you start to think about the chances that you might have down the road of becoming #1?
Well, it's a great achievement, of course, and to stay so long as #1, you need to be very consistent, and she showed great tennis for the past couple of years. So, of course, my goal is to get even higher in the ranking, to get this position as #1, but I know it's still a lot of work. It's all depends on the other players too, and yeah, definitely that's my biggest goal, next goal. So yeah, I will try to do it this year, and hopefully it happens.
Elena, how much of an advantage is it for you mentally knowing that you've never lost a final against Arena?
I actually didn't think about this statistic because I lost in Australia, so I think it was not this year, the previous, but well, it's as I always say, it's every day is different, every tournament is different, and you can play well one day and then the other day wake up and not feel the greatest. So I feel like you need to always try to find a way. We know each other's game very well, so it's a lot about physical, I would say, also, because here the ball is heavy, the rallies are a little bit longer than on the other hard courts, which are a little bit quicker. So it's going to be a difficult match where we both gonna try to serve well, that's for sure, put pressure, and I mean, we'll see what's gonna happen.
When the interviewer told Rybakina she had never lost a final against Sabalenka, she immediately corrected him and pointed out her loss in Australia. She actively refused to accept a psychological advantage that wasn't factually accurate. This level of mental clarity and rejection of comfortable but false narratives is precisely what separates her from everyone else currently chasing Sabalenka in the rankings. Remarkably, Eala operates with this same internal compass and honesty despite being only 20 years old.
To what she said. And that's what, I really have to buy into, and, I want to see myself playing that way.
Speaking of Iga, that was one of your great wins this year. You played brilliant in Doha, making the semifinals over there. What are some of the things you've thought you've done very well this year in 26, and a few things you'd like to continue to get better?
Obviously, I want to improve that consistency. I want to have tournaments like, I never had, maybe the flashy results like win tournaments back to back. But I always, when I was top 10 for 4 years, I had very consistent, semifinals, finals, semifinals. That's what I want to see myself doing again. And then eventually win the tournaments. Obviously starting the season, United Cup with 2 very good wins. Then with Iga and making the semis again after almost 2 years. It was something that I really, really missed. But then I feel like, I know I'm 30 years old, but sometimes I feel like I'm a junior in that mindset that
30 is young.
Yeah, it is young, but sometimes I don't use my experience that, just to lower the expectations when I have to. But I still have time. As you said, 30 is young, so.
Entire nations closely follow these two exceptional players, Eala and Fonseca, creating enormous external pressure and expectations. Yet she frames this pressure in a way that most athletes never articulate publicly, stating, "I owe it to myself first." Not to the fans, not to her country, but primarily to herself. This represents a crucial psychological boundary that most 20-year-old athletes haven't developed or learned to maintain. Rybakina operates with this identical mindset, remaining quiet, internally focused, and completely unbothered by external noise. This shared mental approach might explain why their matchup proved much closer than anyone had predicted.
Well, I think it's all together. I think that I was always playing against top players well. Maybe the statistic is not the same, and I was losing these tough matches a bit more before, but I think with the years, with experience, I'm getting this consistency. So hopefully I can just keep on going, and also you get to know the players much more. So you play against the same player multiple times, so you know what to expect. So I think it's all together.
So what are you going to do between now and the final to recover and prepare to get the best performance on Sunday?
We're still gonna do some work on the court, but definitely I will try to rest and be as fresh as possible. It's a bit tricky also to play late matches, then you need to wake up for the early match. Even if it's at 11, you're still like waking up many more hours in advance. So it's a bit challenging, but we will see what we can do, and yeah, hopefully I can be prepared well.
Rybakina travels with her own private stringer rather than relying on tournament stringers like most players. Every single racket receives daily adjustments based on specific temperature, humidity, and court speed conditions. This represents a marginal gain that most fans remain unaware of, and tennis coverage rarely mentions in analysis. This attention to detail might explain why her ball striking feels distinctly different in Rome compared to other tournament locations. However, the biggest revelation occurred when the interviewer attempted to flatter her, and she completely refused to accept the compliment.